Baldwin said it as a black man. I don't have the exact quote in mind, but it's Baldwin, and he was saying basically, if you're a black man and you're a black person and you're paying attention to what's happening in the world, you will be enraged every day, right? And I think it's you can't live in rage. It's not healthy, and I don't think it's very purposeful. But to me, once a greater number of people who aren't black feel that similar kind of rage of what's happening, then we get to start to see some movement. And I think we're seeing some of that. Like, it's hard for me to kind of differentiate between the people who are out as anarchists and just trying to tear up stuff and the people who are actually fighting for justice. But that kind of rage needs to happen about what's happening in order for, and it needs to be sustainable, right? It needs to be sustainable. So I think maybe if we're moving in that direction, that there's a kind of rage against inequality, there's a rage against injustice, then we got some action to make and some lasting progress. We needed Dr. Martin Luther King and we needed Malcolm X. You know, we needed militancy and we also needed passivity to create a kind of change. And so I don't think you can have one without the other. And I'm not condoning anyone like burning anything down, or, you know, I don't want to imply that I think that that's okay, but that is it's a tactic, right? Because there's symbolism, right? There's like peaceful marching, there's symbolism, and then there's also like economic action. So I'm not condoning it, but I also know that there's, you know, they're like two-headed, I don't want to call it a monster, but they're two-headed chains. When I was growing up, I didn't have this information. I wasn't reading. I didn't know what was happening in the world. So what gives me hope is that there are kids who are growing up just like me and who have access to this information. My daughter just wrote a post on her Instagram that was more politically astute than I could imagine being at, 18 years old. My son has been writing protest poems. So to me, that's hope, because I didn't do any of that. And so, I mean, the best that I can do is give them an example. And then also, I didn't have a voice. You know, like, there were plenty of things happening in my life that I wanted, well, I felt I didn't want to share them, but if I had an ability to kind of talk through them, that maybe things would have went a little different. So I think I feel fortunate that I have, I got a bookshelf. How about that? I never had a bookshelf in my house in my life. And as an adult, I have a bookshelf. So if you want to talk about progress, there it is. Redemptive thread that I can pull from this. I mean, I get on a personal level, it's just the ability to sit down and write and to think through what's happening and how I feel about it on a page. But that's personal. And I think on a broader level, I'm very, I guess on an interpersonal level, I'm really happy that my friends and I are connected in a way that we haven't been. So I think this has given people a lot of encouragement to like reconnect with people and to have meaningful conversations. And I think maybe that's how it is on a kind of national level as well, is that now you can't ignore the conversation, right? Like, you send an email out to anyone, you're like, I don't know how you're doing right now, or I hope you're doing well right now in these crazy times. So this is not something that you can look away from. So maybe that's the most hopeful thing I can say, is like, we can't look away from this. And having to look at it is going to make us do something.